They didn't want to write it. Every word bled. But the truth wouldn't stop screaming your name. Before the ink dried, the paper caught a tear. That was the moment their silence ended. You were never forgotten. Just hidden inside a storm, they didn't know how to leave. This letter cost them their sleep, their peace, their pride. All for your knowing. What you called abandonment, they called unworthiness. They left so you could live untouched by their ruin. The truth didn't fit inside words. But they tried for you. It wasn't goodbye. It was guilt dressing up as distance. They wept where no one saw. You were their prayer they didn't feel holy enough to keep. If they vanished, it wasn't betrayal. It was them bleeding alone, so you wouldn't. Not a day passed without a wish they'd held on. This letter is their undoing. You were their sanctuary. They just didn't think they deserved to live in one. It took losing everything to realize you were everything. The words broke them, but hiding broke them worse. This isn't closure. It's confession. The silence wasn't peace. It was punishment. They saw your light and feared their shadow would dim it. They've watched every version of you they missed bloom and ache. You weren't the reason they ran. You were the reason they're crawling back. This letter is soaked in the tears they swore they'd never shed. You don't know the whole story, but this is the page that changes everything. Every sentence costs them another secret. You deserved the truth when it still had a pulse. Now it comes with ghosts. They wrote you this letter in the dark, hoping your soul would light it. There's blood in the ink, not literal, but soul deep. They loved you the way a star loves from a galaxy away, too far to touch, too bright to ignore. You saved them. They just didn't know how to stay alive with you. The letter starts with your name and ends with "I'm sorry." They've carried this ache like a second heartbeat. They weren't brave then, but this letter is. This isn't a love letter. It's an unburial. Your absence screamed louder than any regret. What they couldn't say in person, the paper begged to speak. Their silence wasn't apathy. It was agony. They remember your laugh. It echoes in the quiet that now haunts them. This letter is their resurrection, or their ruin. You were the only thing that ever felt like home. The truth is uglier than the lie, but it's yours now. Don't forgive them yet. Just read. Then decide. They wrote with trembling hands. Love isn't always steady. You're still the one they see when they close their eyes. This letter is the wound talking, not the mask. They failed you in daylight. This letter is their midnight repentance. You were the one thing they did right, and they still lost you. The pages are wet. They've been crying again. They knew this letter would undo you, but they hoped it would also free you. The truth won't heal all, but it's a start. No more pretending. No more pretending. If they could go back, they'd stay. But time only moves forward. You were too real. That's what scared them. If this touched your soul, don't scroll. Comment your favorite quote and subscribe for more. They never stopped believing in your light. Just doubted they deserved to stand in it. This isn't about reunion. It's about responsibility. They vanished, yes, but every place they hid had your memory in it. They wrote this with shaking breath, praying you'd still feel them. The guilt outlived the goodbye. You were the hope they abandoned too soon. Their only crime was cowardice, and it stole you. No one else ever came close, not even once. They remember your hands, the way they didn't flinch. Their love was silent, but it never stopped speaking inside them. They called it timing, but it was fear cloaked in logic. You were never meant to carry their silence this long. They thought leaving would save you. It destroyed them. The truth lives in this paper, but only your heart can read it. This letter doesn't ask for another chance. It just asks to be seen. They failed you, and that truth wakes them every night. You were always too sacred to touch with dirty hands. What they feared most was being truly known by you. The words, "I love you," came too late. This is their funeral for that delay. They wrote your name over and over like a prayer. This isn't just regret. It's revelation. They couldn't protect you and be with you, so they chose wrong. You still haunt the places they try to heal in. They aren't asking to be forgiven. They just need to be heard. You were their mirror, and they hated what they saw. This letter was supposed to be burned, but they couldn't do it. The silence you heard? That was shame. You were the one story they told without lying. They ache for the version of you they broke. You left light in their darkness. They never forgot. The pain they caused you lives in their spine now. They wrote this after waking from a dream where you finally turned away. You were always real. They just weren't ready for real. You gave them something no one else dared, truth. They didn't stop loving you. They just stopped believing they could. There's no closure in this letter, only an opening. They wept into the envelope. Salt sealed it. You were right. About everything. They wanted you to stay, but never asked you to. That's their sin. This paper holds the confession their mouth never could. They wrote this because your absence started speaking louder than their silence. They still wear your forgiveness like a ghost. You were the medicine they mistook for poison. This letter is late, but love doesn't always run on time. They're not healed, but they needed to bleed this truth onto the page. They used to dream of your wedding, even if they weren't the one waiting at the altar. They didn't expect you to still matter, but you do. Every line is a goodbye to the version of themselves who hurt you. This was their first honest thing in years. You deserved a love that stayed. They know that now. You were the one thing they could never silence. Even now, your name burns in their throat. They broke you to protect a lie. This letter is its burial. Every tear they denied then has found its way into this page. You were their turning point, but they turned the wrong way. They blamed the timing, but the truth is, they weren't brave enough to love you. You deserved an explanation, not an echo. They still sleep beside your absence. Every apology came too late, so they wrote this instead. You never left their heart, just their reach. They let their demons speak louder than your love. You were the miracle. They were just too broken to believe in it. They held your heart with unwashed hands. This letter is them finally bleeding the truth they never could say aloud. Your silence now is louder than any goodbye. They wish you'd hate them. It's easier than hoping you still care. They didn't stop writing until your name stopped hurting. It never did. They thought forgetting would heal them, but forgetting you was never an option. They kept this letter hidden for years, until tonight. Every line holds a memory they prayed you'd never forget. Hay walked away, but this paper is their crawl back. You were the only thing they wanted to keep. They couldn't stay, but they never truly left. The tears dried, but the ache stayed. They still whisper your name when no one is listening. This letter is the answer to the question you stopped asking.